And welcome back, YouTube. This is Buster here with another video. Today I got for you a Final Fantasy Creatures Volume 1 miniature showcase video. That's right, I recently obtained the miniatures from the first Final Fantasy Creatures line, and I gotta say, they are absolutely beautiful pieces of art to add to anybody's miniature collection, especially if you are a fan of Final Fantasy. Now, this particular line focuses on Final Fantasy VII, VIII, IX, and X, and it features either special summons, bosses, or just famous monsters that you would face in the Final Fantasy universe. And this set in particular means a whole lot to me because 7, 8, 9, 10 are some of my all-time favorite Final Fantasies, so it's a bit more sentimental to me than it may be to some other people out there who watch this video. Now, there is one caveat I want to say before I showcase these. These were a pain in the donkey to assemble. I don't know why. The previous line that I had from Volume 4 was not this hard to assemble, but this particular one, I had to resort to glue for multiple different miniatures in order to hold them in place. I don't know if I just got a bad batch, if the first volume was really bad, or what, but yeah, this particular set did not want to hold together. I'd also want to say one really cool thing about this particular miniature line. So each one comes with a collector's card that showcases the actual character or the miniature on the front, and on the back it shows you a guide as to how to build the miniature, and I think that's just a really cool feature that a lot of things don't do nowadays. With all that out of the way, let's hop into this showcase. First up, representing Final Fantasy VII, one of the most iconic summons of all time and hard to get, the easiest hard to get summon in that game. We have King Arthur. Beautiful miniature. Of course, this represents the Knights of the Round summon from the game itself. Awesome red cape, really cool attention to detail, really cool armor. You see the face there, really cool looking. Excalibur sword. The cloak blowing in the wind. And the base that he's sitting on, not quite sure what that represents, but really cool nonetheless. That is King Arthur representing Knights of the Round. And here is his collector's card. And that is how you assemble him. With King Arthur, I did not have too much trouble assembling him. With the issue of the sword was kind of attached to the foot, so I kind of actually had to break the sword off so I could get the foot to attach to the base. That was the only issue with this particular miniature. Just want to make sure it stays, it's not blurry. Okay, cool. We're going to skip him because he was a pain. Alright, up next, we have the lovely, absolute beautiful summon of Leviathan. And now, Leviathan appeared in 7, 8, and 9. I believe this is the 8 rendition, Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is Final Fantasy VIII. Let me know in the comments down below if I am incorrect, so you can correct me on that. I did have to resort to glue because for whatever reason, this particular miniature, none of the pegs held at all. So I had to glue the wings, the head, and the base of the tail. All of it, because it just did not hold the way it was supposed to. But absolutely beautiful miniature. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the Final Fantasy VIII rendition of Leviathan. And here's his collector's card. Because if you remember in 8, he kind of summoned himself, he snaked up to the top of the waterfall, and he kind of went in this pose just without the red orb, and exploded into the waterfall that cascaded down onto the enemies. Absolutely beautiful. I love the translucent, the serpent-like quality, just a beautiful miniature overall. Haha, another one of my absolute favorites. So up next, representing Final Fantasy VIII again, we have Diablos. Now this was a unique Guardian Force or special summon from that game, in which you actually had to, you got it from an item. So I believe the dean of the school gave you a lantern, and then you activated that lantern to fight Diablos. And his level would actually kind of increase with yours. So if I remember right, if you waited later in the game to activate it, he would actually be a higher level when you fought him. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, that's a pretty cool summon here. I love the red and black wings, the like orb of just like the orb of smoke that he's sitting on here. Really cool. His face, just that classic like devilish face. This one I did, his arm I needed to glue, but the wings were relatively good for the most part. Beautiful on the back end there. Absolutely beautiful miniature. That is Diablos, and here's his collector's card with how to build him. One of my absolute all-time favorite summons from 8. Of course, Doom Train will always be number 1. I just love that 8 actually got recognized with its summons, and they actually made merchandise, because I think 8 had the best summons out of any Final Fantasy, in my opinion. Doom Train, Leviathan, Diablos, Cactar, Toneberry, Odin. Just absolute amazing summons in that game. Alright, sticking with the 8 theme, we have something that you would never think would get merchandise, but actually did. Griever. Ultima Weapon, aka the final boss in the games, her ultimate summon that you actually never got to use yourself, but the final boss got to use it. Just a really cool addition to the line. Like I said, something you would never really think would get merchandise, but actually did. I just really like the fact that Griever got merchandise, because it'd be something that you never would expect. I love the purple wings there. that go into the white and then red tips. Absolutely beautiful. The face. Backside there. The tail that wraps around to the bottom of the base. Just a beautiful miniature overall. That is Griever from Final Fantasy VIII. Oh, and here's his collector's card too. How to build him. Now, I'm not 100% certain, but we have Ifrit from, I believe this is the Final Fantasy IX rendition. It's definitely not 10, and it's definitely not 7. I'm pretty sure it's not 8. Just the way the horns look, it's a real distinct look to Final Fantasy IX. One of the most iconic summons in all of Final Fantasy. Really unique take on this particular miniature. The way that he's kind of like almost jumping through the flames, which didn't really happen in the Final Fantasy IX summon. He just kind of jumped up and he did this like cross flame thing that attacked the enemy. But yeah, definitely a bit more of a unique take on the summon. He has those really unique orange horns like that. I will say one bad thing about this particular miniature is it's very unstable. It kind of tips to one side pretty bad, so you almost have to lean it up against something if you want to display it without it potentially falling over into another miniature and then knocking that miniature over. But beautiful. I love the red and orange flames at the bottom, his yellow and dark skin, culminating in the orange horns for his face. Beautiful miniature. Just a bit unstable. Only bad thing. So I kind of have to lean him up if I want to display him properly. Come on. I'll put him over here. There we go. Better. And here is his display card with how to build him. Very cool. And up next, another pain in the ass miniature to build. But once it's constructed, absolutely beautiful. We have Dark Waltz No. 3. And the beautiful thing is, if you look, you can see his eyes right there underneath the hat. He did not want to stay to this base, so I had to glue the piss out of the foot there to attach to the base. That was the big issue with this miniature. And as you can imagine, holding this on kind of oddball sphere type thing is not easy to do. I love the fact that he's standing on top of the energy ball, though, because once you do build it, it's so cool. The fact that the energy is like coming off of this staff to build the ball that he's standing on. His cloak, which is very, of course, VIII-like, which, you know, if you played Final Fantasy IX, you understand the story. The wings are really cool on this particular miniature, and once you build it, and if you build it correctly, it actually stays pretty dang balanced. It doesn't tip over too bad, or it doesn't tip over all that well. Beautiful wings, the hat, just another cool miniature to add to the collection. Happy to have it. And as you can tell, it actually stays pretty balanced. I like it. And here is his collector's card. And now we have, representing, I believe, Final Fantasy X, another iconic miniature, our summon. We have the ice goddess herself, Shiva. Really beautiful miniature. I love the translucency of the base and the energy that she's summoning there. Her hair does make it a bit unbalanced, so it does kind of want to tip to the side if you don't get it on really stable ground. Of course, her outfit, it's that very revealing but not indecent look. The bluish tint skin to show that she is, of course, the Frost Queen. She's Queen of the Cold. Absolutely beautiful miniature. That is Shiva from Final Fantasy X, and here is her collector's card. And I also have to say, a lot of these could work very well for Dungeons & Dragons miniatures too. So I'm not 100. I was never 100% sure to say this particular summon's name, but I'm going to say it the way I think it's said. Representing Final Fantasy X, another summon. I'm going to call him Ixion. This is, of course, the Lightning Horse, the Lightning Steed, summoned by Yuna. Almost unicorn-esque with that lightning rod of a horn. And I love the attention to detail, all the green and white stripes almost make it look zebra-like. The weird base that it's sitting on almost looks like it's like machina. And this is actually one of the few miniatures that was really easy to put together. I had absolutely no problems with it. I didn't have to use any glue at all. It's beautiful. This is, of course, Ixion from Final Fantasy X. And here is its collector's card. Up next, we have a very classic summon from Final Fantasy X. The Wandering Warrior, Yojimbo. Give him some money. Just look at the attention to detail. So much detail went into this particular miniature. All the different colors, all the different pieces of his outfit, his sword. I mean, look at his sword. It has the engravings on the sword. That's and all the beautiful detail on the mane of his little animal there. Just beautiful attention. And of course he falls apart. Gonna have that happen from time to time. But yeah, truly beautiful attention to detail on this particular Yojimbo miniature. I'll work on him later, but you've seen enough to appreciate. And here's the back of his cloak there, just truly beautiful. I'll put them back together later. And here's the stat card. And for the final miniature, we're going back to Final Fantasy VII. And this guy is... his wings just absolutely do not want to stay. We have the Ultima Weapon from Final Fantasy VII. It's great to see merchandise based on the weapons from Final Fantasy VII because you just don't see stuff like that happen. And the weapons were probably my most iconic part of Final Fantasy VII. Truly a beautiful miniature. The most pieces by far, and by far the largest miniature out of this particular line. The only issue is I cannot get his other wing to stay, so I'm going to have to work on that with some excess glue force later on. But besides that, a truly beautiful miniature of the Ultima Weapon from VII. Now with all that said, that completes this particular video of the miniatures. I gotta say, it is incredibly hard for me to choose a favorite. If I had to, man, I can't. If I had to, I think I have to choose Diablos, just because he's one of my all-time favorite summons of just out of any Final Fantasy. Right up there with Doom Train. I think the Dark Waltz number 3 is a pretty close second, just because he looks so cool once you actually have him all built. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite miniature is. And say Yojimbo in the comments, and wish him a speedy recovery. Until next time, this is VIII, and I'm signing out. Peace.